As I grew a year older.
As you grow a year older, yes,
You're
yes.
wiser.
I always used to think I'm timid when going out. I'm not extroverted.
I actually like running on a high today, or was I actually like incredibly overstimulated? Like I didn't give myself time to do that, and then January I felt like I just crashed and burned. And
But this time when I have to adapt, it's every part of my life. Like work, I would have to adapt myself to other people, to the culture, to the pace of the work.
you watch it, yeah. But we haven't gotten to the stage where that people will be like, "Oh, so you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And then I'll just like stone there for a bit and say, "So are you going to show me the link?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." So Victoria had to do that. She's obsessed with that capybara. It's my. Hello, everybody! Welcome to ragTech. This is where we engage in Bytes and Banter. My name is Natasha. I'm a software engineer.
I'm Saloni, software developer.
And I'm Victoria, Solutions Engineer.
And together we are ragTech. So today, we're just gonna do a really chill catch-up episode. I think when we were reviewing a lot of your comments and also like friends who have feedback to us personally, they said they missed like the bantery, chill, casual vibes. Because I think our previous episodes have been like we've had really amazing guest speakers who gave us really amazing advice across the tech ecosystem. But I think it drifted to a more serious tonish, and I think some people are like, hey, we want y'all to banter again.
Yeah.
So we thought this would just be a simple little episode for us to catch up on each other, catch up on each other's lives as well, not just about like just in tech, but like outside of that, so we can bring the banter part of Bytes and Banter back. Yeah, well, one of the more recent things that happened was actually it was Saloni's birthday. Woo! Happy birthday, Saloni! So I guess reflecting on I guess the year and your life in general, because I guess every time we have a birthday, we become sort of wiser. What's something that you reflected a lot about, like as you? We're not gonna reveal your age, but like as you turn something this year.
As I grew a year older.
As you grow a year older, yes.
You're wiser.
A lot of things, a lot of habits, a lot of things that you think you're born with can be changed. For example, I always used to think I'm timid when going out. I'm not extroverted, but all these things actually are. You can make yourself change. You can make yourself extroverted if you want. You can make yourself less timid. Basically, that's the kind of realization or the new growth thing that I learned
Funny how these small things you only realize like a long
so much later in your
time
life.
later. Like for you, what was like one habit that made you realize like this fact that you picked up and you realize, oh, actually, I can actually change this, be it work or personal.
So things that worked well for me was affirmations,
Mm.
and manifestation as well. Thinking of the person you want to be, and then you kind of will become that person.
Mm.
Kind of. I don't know which
but
level I'm going to, but
That's good.
So
It's
that's
so
something
important to like have
visualize.
that visualization.
Yeah.
I think that definitely I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I like how she talks about like don't stick yourself with a label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes you have like this fixed mindset like, oh, I'm always gonna be like this, right?
Yeah.
But it's amazing how like throughout your experience this year you come to the conclusion that you can have this growth mindset where you can actually
Growth
grow
mindset,
out of
yeah.
that label.
Over the years, reflecting on my personality changes that has happened, like there were highs, there were lows, and thinking about how I felt when I was on a high, how I felt when I was on a low, and then deciding that, you know what, I can actually make the most of my personalities by keeping myself on the high as much as I can, and also accepting the lows and getting back up.
Then can I ask, how do you stay mindful of like your highs and lows? Do you keep like a journal or do you log that? How do you?
So I've tried different things, and I'm still trying different things. Recently, one of my friends, she shared with me that instead of writing 3 things you're grateful for, write something good that happened to you that day, or things like so. Every day you are kind of reflecting the day. It forces you to reflect, and then that's how you realize, actually today I was on a low, or like today I was feeling this way, today I was feeling good.
I guess after a while, you do sort of see a pattern.
Yeah.
Wise words, a new Saloni.
New
Since you're
Saloni.
so wise. I mean, a year older, a year wiser, as to say.
Even though I can see like the small little Saloni growing, I can also see like the adult-ish Saloni also growing. Don't know what
Like
to
the
call
inner
myself.
child and then like the adult self.
Yeah.
I go for therapy, and one of the frameworks I introduce is transactional analysis. And transactional analysis is about recognizing the parent figure in you, the child figure in you, and how you kind of coalesce them to have like this adult self. So
Yeah.
actually,
Yeah,
that's kind of what
exactly
you've
that.
been discovering.
Yeah.
You know, the adult selves, like the adult self that's a lessons of like the child and the parent. Perhaps parent was the word that you were looking for, the
Yeah.
wiser, more mature. And
Yeah, but it's a bit weird to call my parent child. It's just me adult and me small.
well, in a way, like for transactional analysis, they do it's both negative and positive. Like for example, within the parent, there's also the firm parent, and but there's also like that demands obedience. You know, the parent that's overprotective, that's always trying to protect you, which you know, could explain a lot of people's like low confidence and stuff. And how does this parent react to a child, the child self that wants freedom and to a certain extent rebellion? So you're constantly having these conversations among yourself. Yeah, so I think your reflection
Probably.
just brought to mind, like, you know, my therapy session. And just looking back, like, I think this year has also been a lot about, like, self-awareness for me. Um, I, and for me, that awareness came from actually doing less.
Yes.
Doing a lot less because early on in the year, I had a lot of burnout from doing too much last year. I mean, the end of last year was a lot of great things. We did a lot happened with women devs, and then like we
And
also
we
started a
launched this.
podcast, right? Yeah, a lot of exciting things. But these things, you know, if you run too fast with them, you start getting overwhelmed. And this, if you don't keep track, like you don't every day kind of like reflect on like, was I actually like running on a high today, or was I actually like incredibly overstimulated? Like I didn't give myself time to do that, and then
Yeah.
January I felt like I just crashed and burned, and I feel like I'm still in the process of recovery, but like this is the very stable phase where I kind of like, you know, I've slowed down and really see stability in a lot of things. Like we now have a really good cadence for this podcast. I remember early on we were just running around still experimenting with a lot of things, and then we still have that like when we do our sync ups, and then we're like, this idea, that idea, oh my gosh, you have to try this. But actually consistency and that kind of like routineness is more important, knowing that, you know, like now we've not really had an episode three of us together for a really long time. So
Yeah.
this feels really nice and familiar. Like we're not, you know, trying to adapt to something new. Like the whole guest speaker thing was new. So I think that's leveraging onto your point about self-awareness. Like for me, that self-awareness came from establishing routine and also appreciating that when you let go of the things that are constantly uncertain, changing, they can be really exciting, like you said. But when you let go of chasing that, what's remaining there? Then you realize what's the reliable routines you have in life. Reliable people, for sure. Both of you are one of the two most reliable people for me. So yeah, a lot of like reflections that way. But yeah, but for you, I feel like this year would be quite uncertain. Went through quite a job transition, different ecosystem, different environment. You're also flying quite a bit. How's that for you this year?
I would say this year, I would say is the year of a lot of changes. That's the key word this year is adapting. I always thought of myself as someone who can adapt easily because I moved to different countries and I always have to readapt myself. But that's because I always have to, it's easy for me to adapt because it was just concerning me. So when I moved to a new country, I just basically I just adjust according to the environment, but it's only on me. But this time when I have to adapt, it's every part of my life. Like work, I would have to adapt myself to other people, to the culture, to the pace of the work, to the position. So I would say it's a new type of adapting. It's definitely not easy, and there were times where I felt overwhelmed, but I think one of the biggest lessons I learned this year is from Yumin's episode.
Yes.
But you even talk about like always finding your tribe and always finding people you can trust and people you can rely on. So of course, besides two of you, I also managed to find the community that is Women Devs SG, and I also be able to meet some coworkers in my new job that I can rely on, that I can always ask questions without feeling judged or feeling insecure about. So because of that, I stick close to those people. And I think that really has helped me grow. And it just made me feel like I'm empowering myself through the support of others. Yeah. And that's very rare for me because I always see myself as someone who do things well by myself. I thought I always, like even with school before, with my work before.
Yeah, technical blogging as well. It's like a very
Yeah, it's always been quite individual and it's always quite been a lone journey for me this whole time. Even my previous job was kind of working in silo. So it always feels like as long as I do my part well, I always thought everything will be okay, right? As long as I have this sense of responsibility, everyone around me will also be okay. But what I learned this year is that you need to also learn how to be vulnerable. It's okay to share that with people you trust. So I think I learned a lot, especially from every single one of our guest speakers who come. I always rewatch a lot of what they have to say, and sometimes overanalyze, like trying to, yeah, like thinking deeply about myself through their words and their insights and their wisdom. So that is overall what I've been doing this year, and yeah, it's thanks to you guys that I feel like I'm also like new Saloni,
New Victoria.
new Victoria, all right, like Victoria 2.0.
Right. That's interesting because, because I felt like your job transition so far has been the most uncertain thing for you, and you would like be like, I'm so excited and stuff like that. But actually, it's brought upon like a sense of stability and self awareness that we've both talked about, but in different contexts for us. So for yours, it's like birthday, New Year, like not much has changed, but like you've kind of been able to look back and then see all the things that have happened, identified like there were lows, there were highs, and then became more self-aware and appreciated habits and routines because of that. And then for me, it came out of a place of, well, stopping and just like really appreciating the mundane. But for you, that same realization came from changing and uncertainty. But it's great that we always come back to like, the sense of community and self-awareness, because I think a lot of self-awareness also comes from like seeing mirrors and parallels, as well as foils of yourself, like people who are different from you, people who are the same. And that's where the community comes in. And I think just thinking about that, we've also built quite a community with our small little podcast here. It's been steadily growing, but it's so nice to be able to, like, at least in the context of Singapore and our little events out there, people start saying like, yeah, thank you so much for like doing this podcast. I related to it. I'm like, you watch it? Yeah, but we haven't gotten to the stage where there people will be like, oh, so you have a podcast? I'm like, yeah, we do. And then I'll just like stone there for a bit and say, so are you going to show me the link? I'm like, oh yeah. So those are things that we're still kind of getting used to. But yeah, now that this has become quite a staple in our lives, I really appreciate it. Appreciate the reliability. I appreciate the space to share. We've gotten more comfortable with it for sure.
Yeah, definitely need to like being able to express my opinions, thinking about things, learning from our guest speakers. Like,
Yes.
imagine if we did not have the chance to ask them questions, learn from them. Would we be actually watching some other podcast to learn things from people? Like, this is kind of like we are forced to learn things from, like, not forced, but like we're there. We get the chance to learn it.
For me, it gives us a reason to talk to them,
Yeah.
kind of. Because as someone who's like, I'm not really sure how to approach people, I can say that, hey, we have a podcast, would love to learn from you.
Exactly.
So please come to the podcast. So it gives me like
a
nice reason.
I also like with this episode, just us sharing about things, like notice that we didn't really talk a lot about tech. I think and then when we reflect, we're not just like reflecting on my journey as a software engineer. Like, I think what we wanted to bring out in the first place, that that we are more and beyond tech. It's about the realities of life, that despite that being our job and there's a lot of nice, exciting things happening there, at the end of the day, we are human beings just like everybody else. We want ourselves to be relatable, as well as the industry that we want to work in to be relatable. And I guess like audience members who are watching this right now, even if you're a techie or non-techie, I'm sure you'll be able to relate to all these things that we're talking about. And it brings to the point that we're normal people who are just trying to make this space more relatable. And I feel like we've achieved that, you know? That is still our value proposition here. And I'm just really proud of us. Victoria had to do that. She's been obsessed with that capybara. It's mine. It's not hers, but I will buy her one at this point. Yeah. But yeah, with that, I guess that was our. It was supposed to be casual, but it turned pretty deep, pretty fast.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all the mood lighting that we've put up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's making us all feels, you
So
know.
do share with us.
Yeah, let us know how what do you feel about this new setup here.
Yeah, new setup. Well,
Cozy.
yeah. We really like cashed into the whole like, oh, this podcast is cozy thing. So
Cozy
we really
vibes.
worked on your feedback. Maybe it's not like, is it too much? Like, let us know. But yeah, more than that, we just wanted to extend our appreciation for all of you watching. It's brought about new self-awareness and growth for us. It's given us new opportunities to learn from other people. We're like people just like you, and we're always looking to learn and to talk, and we're just so thankful for this platform.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And like to each and every one of our viewers, subscribers, and like listeners on all our audio podcasting and video podcasting channels, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, liking. Like every single one of your actions actually encourages us to do this a little bit more and bring things for you and also learn together with. So thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much, and happy birthday, Saloni! Yay! Okay, as always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.